Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Archana Solanki and here are the headlines we're tracking this evening. Investors tread with caution around the world as the US Fed gears up to announce its rate decision. 72% of the Wall Street is expecting a 25 basis point rate hike, according to a CNBC Fed survey. A range-bound session on the Wall Street ends with marginal gains. Sensex rises over 100 points and the Nifty gains over 40 points. Vedanta will rake in nearly 7,000 crore rupees and the union government will garner 3,000 crore rupees thanks to the fourth interim dividend announced by Hindustan Zinc. But the move will drain the cash reserves of HZL, leaving it with just 400 crore rupees. IFC, the private sector arm of the World Bank, will invest 600 crore rupees in Mahindra & Mahindra's newly incorporated last mile mobility company, IFC, to own between 10 to 13% stake in M&M subsidiary. The CEO of Adani Airport says that the company's operating costs should decrease by 30 to 50% in the coming years. Also adds that phase 1 of Navi Mumbai Airport is on track to begin operations by December 2024 and it will be able to handle 20 million passengers. The Aam Aadmi Party government presents a 79,000 crore rupees budget for Delhi, focuses majorly on infrastructure, education and health. The presentation of the budget was delayed by a day due to a tussle between the Delhi government and the Home Ministry. Tamil Nadu will double its capex in 2 years, says the state's finance minister Thiagarajan. Also says firm on banning online gambling and betting in the state. Says a new legislation will be sent for the governor's approval in a few days. That's an exclusive. Russia's Vladimir Putin welcomes China's controversial peace plan for Ukraine as Xi Jinping wraps up his Moscow visit. US and the West oppose the plan, which will allow Russia to freeze its territorial gains. Meanwhile, IMF announces a 4-year funding package of Ukraine worth more than $15 million. Mukesh Ambani is the richest man in Asia and the only Indian in the global top 10 according to the Hurun Rich list. Gautam Adani drops out of the top 10 after losing 3,000 crore rupees every week last year. Cyrus Poonawalla is the third richest Indian and the world's richest healthcare billionaire. All right, straight to the top story this evening. Markets in Europe remain choppy as investors around the world await the US Federal Reserve's decision on interest rate hikes. According to the CNBC Fed survey, 72% of market participations are expecting a 25 basis point hike. But Wall Street is divided on whether the Fed should hike rates at this point. That's not all. Markets were also weighed down by an unexpected jump in UK inflation for February. The consumer price index rose to 10.4%. The surprise increase in February marked a break from 3 consecutive months of slowing price increases. European Central Bank's chief Christine Lagarde said that inflation remained too high in the region. She said bringing inflation back to 2% over the medium term is non-negotiable. CNBC's Jeff Cutmore is here with what we can expect from the US Fed this evening.
FOMC meeting.
Prices slipped after 2 straight days of gains. This after reports pointed to an unexpected rise in US crude inventory last week. This may be a signal of weakening fuel demand. Meanwhile, gold prices have come off highs as the focus now shifts from the banking system turmoil to the US Fed action. Prices came off all-time highs of 60,455 rupees per 10 grams, slipping 2% overnight. On to all the action from Dalal Street. Nifty and Sensex ended with minor gains after a range-bound session ahead of the US Fed meet. The broader markets rose in line with the benchmarks. ICICI Bank, Reliance and TCS led the Nifty higher. Right, moving on, Vedanta will rake in nearly 7,000 crore rupees and the union government will garner 3,000 crore rupees thanks to the fourth interim dividend announced by Hindustan Zinc. But the move will drain the cash reserves of HZL, leaving it with just 400 crore rupees. Nigel D'Souza is here with more details. Nigel, over to you.
Well, that's right. Everyone was wondering whether or not Vedanta Group has a way out. There were fears that Vedanta Resources will default on some of their payments, but that was not to be. And we had laid out that there were a couple of options that they had on the table, and they've taken the easiest possible one. That's a dividend payout. So late last evening, Hindustan Zinc has declared a dividend of close to around 26 rupees per share. That takes the total dividend payout in this fiscal itself to around 75 rupees and 50 paise. Now, this 26 rupees per share, that equates to close to around 11,000 crores odd. And out of this total quantum, well, the promoter entity, that is Vedanta Limited, the listed entity, well, they'll get bulk of that. So they'll get close to around 7,100 crores. That's good news from a Vedanta Limited standpoint. Now, the Vedanta Limited shareholders will be hoping that all the dividend that they receive will be passed through. And if that is the case, it equates to around 19 rupees and 20 paise odd. Now, that's good news for the Vedanta shareholders. And from there, the majority of it will go to the Vedanta promoter, obviously, who has close to around 70% stake. That could equate to around $600 million odd. And that's enough to service the near-term debt obligations of Vedanta Resources. So good news for Hindustan Zinc shareholders, better news actually for Vedanta Limited as well as Vedanta Resources as well. Out of this total quantum, bulk goes to Vedanta Limited. The remainder of around 3,000 crores odd will go to the government of India. So that explains why both the two stocks are doing pretty well. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Nigel, for that. Moving on, International Finance Corporation, the private sector arm of the World Bank, is planning to invest 600 crore rupees in Mahindra & Mahindra's new last-mile mobility company for a stake of 10 to 14%. Parikshit Luthra is here with more details. Parikshit, over to you.
Well, this is indeed important if we look at the Mahindra Group's entire electrification strategy for the automobile sector. They had spun off Mahindra Electric as a separate entity to drive the electric mobility segment in their passenger cars and SUVs. So that has happened. We've seen investment that has come in from British International Investments, and both Mahindra Group and BII are searching for greater investments over the next few years. So that was for the SUV segment. Coming to the last mile mobility segment, this is a segment which is headed by Suman Mishra within the Mahindra Group. It has the architecture of the three-wheelers and four-wheelers in the cargo and passenger segment. So you've got the Alpha, you've got the Trio, you've got the Zor, you also have the Jito segment here. So this IFC investment of 600 crores will go towards electrification of the last mile portfolio of Mahindra Group. At the same time, promote the greater production and greater footprint of already existing products in the last mile mobility segment in petrol, diesel, CNG and electric segments as well. So let's see how things develop. We believe that the Mahindra Group is still thinking of the name for this new entity, and one of the names that are being considered is Mahindra Last Mile Mobility Limited.
All right, thank you, Parikshit, for those updates. Moving on, the government has extended the deadline for linking of Aadhaar card with voter ID to March 31st next year. Now, the previous deadline for the same was to end on the 1st of April. The voters can link their Aadhaar number to the voter ID card online or via SMS. Law Minister had told the Parliament last year that the linkage was not compulsory. Moving on, the Karnataka government has approved Foxconn's proposal to invest in the state. The company will pump in 8,000 crore rupees, and this is expected to generate 50,000 jobs across the state. This proposal is among the 18 projects that were approved by the Karnataka government, with investing initiatives totaling to more than 75,000 crore rupees. Now, the Delhi government presented its 79,000 crore rupees budget for FY24. This is a day after the Home Ministry approved the budget after initially putting it on hold. Infrastructure, transport and women's health were some of the priority areas. Shivani Bajaj gets us the key highlights from the Delhi budget.
The budget was delivered with the theme Clean, Beautiful and Modern Delhi. The key numbers include rupees 56,983 crore of revenue expenditure and an outlay of over 21,000 crore as capital expenditure. In a big push for infrastructure, Delhi government has proposed the building of 26 new flyovers, bridges and underpasses, and also 3 double-decker flyovers in collaboration with DMRC. The state government said 29 new flyovers are being constructed and 1,600 e-buses will be inducted by the end of 2023. With an increase of over rupees 200 crore compared to the last year, the AAP government has allocated rupees 16,500 crore for education sector in the 2023 budget. Over 350 Delhi government schools will get 20 computers each, and the teachers will get new tablets. The budget also puts forward a 6-point action plan for the clean Yamuna and removal of all 3 garbage heaps in Delhi. The budget proposes to treat 890 million gallons of sewage a day by March 2024. Under the Mohalla Bus Yojana, the Delhi government will induct electricity-based mini buses. The new buses inducted in Delhi will have factory-fitted GPS, CCTV cameras and panic buttons in a bid to boost women's safety. Delhi Finance Minister said that the last 4 months, 42,000 women visited the Mohalla clinics meant exclusively for women, and another 100 will be added soon. A total of rupees 9,742 crore was allocated to the healthcare sector in this budget. Kailash Gehlot informed the assembly that 9 new hospitals are being built, out of which 4 will be operational this year.
All right, thank you, Shivani, for those details. Moving on, the big newsmaker of the day, Tamil Nadu Finance Minister Palanivel Thiagarajan has said that the state will double its capex in the next 2 years. In an exclusive conversation with Shreen Bhan, he also said that the state government is firm on banning online gaming and betting, and a new legislation will be sent to the government for further approval.
This is India's moment, right? The global macro picture, both politically and economically, is such that India is kind of the cynosure of all eyes. People want to divest from China. The scale, both economically and demographically, of India is so high they cannot think anywhere else. In fact, the action happens in the States. Yesterday, Dr. Suman Berry was here, the new Niti Aayog Vice Chairman, and he said the same thing to the Chief Minister. Development happens in the States, and that's a fact. So the States need to step up big time. The cabinet has made the decision, which has been publicly recorded, that we are going to reintroduce the online gaming ban bill, which is a very specific bill. It only says that because, it's a very technical bill. The bill is very solid. You get any scholar to opine on it. It's very solid. In fact, yesterday, the union minister somewhere has opined that it's within the rights of Tamil Nadu to pass such a bill. So this bill will get unanimously approved by the legislature in the next few days. It will get sent back to this governor.
In fact, you can catch that entire conversation with the Finance Minister of Tamil Nadu at 5 p.m. on CNBC-TV18. All right, shifting tracks now. Prime Minister Narendra Modi released the Bharat 6G Vision document. The document is a roadmap for faster adoption of new technology in India and an action plan to roll out 6G services in the country. Ashmit Kumar joins us now. Ashmit, what is the latest?
Well, Prime Minister today announced the launch of the Bharat 6G vision, and this will be a vision that he promises will drive India's telecom aspirations beyond the 5G rollout. Speaking on the launch today, the Prime Minister stated that India is seeing the fastest 5G rollout in the entire world. He pointed out that within a space of 120 days, 125 cities have been covered, and in a 6-month window, over 350 districts have been covered. However, the next leap that needs to be taken, as per the Prime Minister, is to indigenize these telecom technologies and be a supplier to the world, be an exporter to the world, and that is the underlying theme behind the Bharat 6G vision. There are 3 words guiding it. That's design, develop and deploy. The idea being that India, which so far has been a consumer of telecom technologies and equipment, should now evolve to become a supplier and exporter of these telecom solutions and telecom equipment. And in pursuit of that vision, Bharat 6G vision, an apex council, we understand, has been constituted as a part of this vision. This council has been mandated with defining phase-wise objectives, as well as giving it the pathways that need to be realized as far as Bharat 6G vision is concerned. This panel, this Apex Council, will be headed by none other than Ashwini Vaishnav, the Telecom and the IT Minister himself. He will be flanked by secretaries from various ministries, Telecom, IT, MIB, Space, DRDO. Secretaries from these ministries will also be there. There will also be representation from the industry. The CEO of TCS finds a place. Vinod Dham will also be on the panel. There will be representation from startups. Essentially, what they're looking at is to develop guardrails and perhaps pathways that need to be followed towards deployment of 6G. So that's the vision being announced by the Prime Minister.
All right, thank you, Ashmit, for that. Moving on, it's time for a short break. But coming up next, Mukesh Ambani is the richest man in Asia and the only Indian in the global top 10 of the Hurun list, while Gautam Adani dropped out of the top 10. More on this when we return. Stay tuned. Welcome back. China and Russia have signed a strategic agreement on deepening bilateral ties between the two countries. Chinese President Xi Jinping said that both China and Russia are bringing their ties into a new era of cooperation. Further, Russian President Vladimir Putin said all agreements have been reached between the two countries. CNBC's Sam joins us with the key highlights.
Only sort of details.
Right, shifting gears now, Mukesh Ambani has been named as the richest man in Asia and the only Indian in the global top 10, according to the Hurun Rich list. Gautam Adani has dropped out of the top 10 after losing 3,000 crore rupees for every week last year. My colleague Shilpa Ranipeta is here with more. Shilpa, over to you.
Well, after briefly slipping to the second spot, Mukesh Ambani is once again India's richest person with a wealth of $82 billion. He's also Asia's richest and the only Indian in the global top 10 list at the 9th spot. Now, he overtook Gautam Adani, who slipped to the second spot after losing $28 billion in wealth. Now, remember, the shares of the Adani Group's 7 listed companies have been under pressure since Hindenburg's report on Jan 24th, which took a short position in certain securities of the group. Now, Hurun says that Adani lost 3,000 crore rupees every week over the last year. Now, Adani is followed by Cyrus Poonawalla of the Serum Institute, then Shiv Nadar and family, and then Lakshmi Mittal in the 5th spot. Now, with economies and stock markets across the globe facing turbulence over the past year, 5 people every week, or 269 people in total, lost their billionaire tags across the world in the last year. Now, interestingly, billionaires such as Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Google's Sergey Brin also were the biggest wealth losers in absolute value. But India, despite seeing a drop in the number of billionaires, is still the 3rd largest billionaire producing nation in the world. In fact, it is also home to India's richest healthcare billionaire in the world in Cyrus Poonawalla and the world's richest paint billionaire in Ashwin Dani. It is also home to the richest aviation billionaires in Indigo, that is Rakesh Gangwal and Rahul Bhatia and family, and the world's richest biscuit manufacturer in Britannia's Nusli Wadia and family. So as you can see, India's healthcare sector minted the most number of billionaires, followed by consumer goods and chemicals, while globally it was the financial services, healthcare and retail sectors that minted more billionaires.
All right, thank you, Shilpa, for those updates and getting us up to speed with the Global Rich List. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Business 360. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned to CNBC-TV18. News and updates continue on the other side.
Everybody